I'm just a man on his way to the moon. All the stars remind me of you. I'm just a man on his way to the moon. All the stars remind me of you. I'm on my way to you. I'm on my way to you. I'm on my way to you. I'm on my way.
We must make the most of it. Let's do this. Here I come! Take that! Here I come!
I'm sorry. I wasn't paying close enough attention. Diligence, diligence.
Now that's what I'm talking about! Daily training is the key.
Figure it out soon. I don't have all day.
Hey everyone, this is a legendary Zoltan. This right here is my personal Gamergate 3. My personal one. I'll read the title for you. Dragon Quest creator Yuji Horii interview questioning forced gender ideology in Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake, scrubbed from the internet. I just think it's kind of funny that my personal Gamergate 3 starts in exactly the same way that the actual Gamergate 1 and 2 started. Gamergate 1 started with a guy named Mundane Matt made a video about a girl who was sleeping with a guy who was reviewing her game. And when he made that video, it got censored. It got copyright stricken, and people talking about it on Reddit forums and stuff were all censored. The second one happened with a guy named Cabrutus, a dude in Brazil. He makes a list of all the games that he doesn't like when he notices that they all have a company called Sweet Baby Inc. consulting on them. And once again, freaking journalists, they start trying to get him banned from Steam even. And, they asked Gabe Newell or whoever to delete that thing. It didn't happen, so that's good. And now here we go again. Censorship. Yet again, censorship. And, I guess it's my personal Gamergate because, I don't know what it is, but I live in Japan, and it's there's nothing I love more than the things that Japan has created throughout the 80s and 90s. And the 2000s even. Right? I grew up, Evangelion era. I was in high school when that came out. I watched that. I thought it was mind-blowing and stuff. Everybody my age was watching Dragon Ball. They all loved it to death. I played tons of RPGs. I played, I'm in the Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger era, sort of. I was in high school when those came out. Yeah. Japan makes some awesome stuff. And being an artistic type myself, nothing just oh my god, yeah. Nothing gets my goat more than seeing Japanese artists being censored. That's my thing right there. So you can say I'm biased, but that's my thing right there. I see Japanese artists, like when I saw freaking, what's that guy's name? Jason Schreier. When I saw him, you know, saying that Dragon's Crown is sexist, man, I lost it. And I'm losing it again now. Okay? So it's bad. It hurt enough to hear Yuji Horii say, you know, we used to be able to choose a male or a female protagonist, but now it has to be type 1 and 2. Who's even complaining about this?
主人公もね男女選べるんだけど、男女選ぶっていけないの、タイプ1タイプ2なのねねえこれ男女誰が一体文句言うんだろうと思ってそうそうですね
you know, that hurts enough to listen to it too. But yeah, now I guess it's Square Enix that's doing this, you know, contacting all these different people and saying, get rid of that interview, delete it. Now, luckily, I found somebody who posted it, this guy Dark Raven. Thanks a lot for posting that, and I reposted it. I should really like download this to my computer just in case, right? But anyway, this right here is the interview. This girl is named Naz Chris, DJ Naz Chris, and she's the one that asked them, you know, what's up with the censorship and stuff lately. I mean, that's my paraphrasing, but she asked them, they answered. I guess there was some blowback, maybe even in Japan, I don't know, but she also, like, so supposedly, I got this from thatparkplace.com, a news website. I'm kind of taking their word for it, but supposedly the original YouTube video that had that interview was set to private, according to them. But also, this girl, she also made a statement. To sum it up, she's saying, you know, people took a 2.5-minute clip from a 90-minute interview. They're missing the wider context, okay? It wasn't like what you said, and there's a major mistranslation, is what she's saying. So far, of course, I haven't gone through the whole video word by word. I have a little bit, you know, I'm trying to hear the part that they say is mistranslated. The part that anybody cares about is not mistranslated, though. That's the thing. They're saying that the part that was mistranslated was when the guy said, it wasn't Yuji Horii, it was the other guy with him. I'm sorry that I forgot his name, that's rude of me. But the other guy, who's also a very important person, he said something about, like, he blamed... you know, there's something about religion that's influenced the way sex education is done in America, and supposedly that word, sex education, was the mistranslated word. I listened to that part. To be honest, that part of the Japanese is hard for me to figure out on my own as well. But it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about that part. The part people care about is when Yuji Horii himself says at the end, very clearly, very easy to understand. I understood it just Japanese only. The translation is not incorrect at all there. You know, he says, you know, I said it already, didn't I? I said the whole thing, didn't I? We used to be able to choose male and female, and now we have to do type 1 and 2. Who is even complaining about this? You know, he said. Okay, so this girl made that statement trying to go back on what they said, not what she said, but what they said, saying, no, you guys got it all out of context, you got it all wrong. I replied to her saying exactly what he said. I just put in quote, you know, you can't choose man or boy or girl, you have to choose type 1 or type 2. Who's even complaining about this? What aspect of that could people possibly be mistaking, you know, misunderstanding? What in that 90-minute interview could possibly change the context of that particular sentence? And you know, I also tried to like get her. I talked more directly to her. You know, you asked them about that because you cared about it, right? I said, you know, have some courage about what you really believe, is what I told her. So me kind of acting like a badass. Hopefully I always do the same. Now that I'm telling it to somebody else. But you know, I looked at all the other replies in here. This guy says the English translation is mostly accurate. And she says, yeah, mostly is the problem, is what she says. Excuse me, coming through.
Hey, I'm recording here.
Only the vast reaches of outer space can hold the myriad dreams of 10 billion people and still show them its infinite possibilities.
It's time for the legendary Zoltan to tell you about all the craziest things you are going to see in what I guess is the craziest game ever made. I don't know that there is any other game with as much insane stuff in it as Star Ocean 2. Can you believe that while I was writing this script, a Star Ocean 2 remake got announced? I can't believe it. It looks unbelievably beautiful. A lot of things are probably going to be different, so we need to take inventory of the craziest things the original PlayStation version has to offer so we can compare it to the remake when it comes out. This is a spoiler-free video, so even if you haven't played Star Ocean 2, you can still have the time of your life watching this video. Let the countdown begin! Insane aspect of Star Ocean 2, number 10, the soundtrack. I have an idea, a crazy idea. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. I think that Motoi Sakuraba might have composed more songs than anyone else in the entire history of the world. Crazy, right? But I think it might be true. I estimate he's probably composing 200 songs a year. I mean, he composes 2 massive RPG soundtracks and a few other games every year. And he's been doing so since 1989. So it's possible that Motoi has composed over 6,000 songs. And guess what? Out of all those songs, some of his best ones are in Star Ocean 2. This was on the PS1, and he understood the old concept that old games don't have the fidelity of visuals or cinematic nature of movies, and therefore, the music is not just supposed to be in the background. So Star Ocean 2 is among his more melodic soundtracks. The songs that I would label the most insane are the Arlia Village theme, the Cross Cave theme, and the main battle theme. There are lots of other great themes though. It's pretty hard to choose just 3. This game's on the PS1, and after watching the opening cinema, hearing the really nice piano track that plays when you have to choose which protagonist to play, that's a full 2-minute song dedicated to just that one moment, and hearing the Shingle Forest theme, you would be thinking way back then that you can't believe how lush these soundscapes are. It's like full orchestras on PS1 with multiple layers of reverb. And just when you think it can't get any more lush than this, you enter Arlia Village. Cross Cave has a unique feel to it, thanks largely to the song. There's another cave that uses this same song, but this is the first time you hear it. This particular theme incorporates the otherworldly aspect of Star Ocean games with an odd space-agey sound effect. When you walk into Cross Cave, it feels like one hell of a dramatic place to be because of this music. This is one of the less melodic songs in the game. It's such a damn shame that the awesome atmosphere this song creates gets broken every time you enter a battle. The last song is the main battle theme. Similar to a lot of Final Fantasy games, it starts off with the bass line. I don't know what to say about it other than these are some really fun melodies. So here you go. Insane aspect of Star Ocean 2, number 9. Private actions and endings. Private actions are in all Star Ocean games. In this game, you walk up to a town and instead of just walking inside, you press the square button and all your party members split up and do whatever they want separately. The purpose of this mechanic is to make all the non-plot relevant character background details optional. So if you don't care about hearing Claude talk about how having a famous dad sucks, or Ashton talk about how much he loves barrels, you can skip them all. The insane thing about this system, though, is that a lot of the game's secrets are found by doing private actions. All kinds of interesting things can be done during private actions. One of those things is affecting who ends up living happily ever after together. Every character has a friend rating and a romance rating with all other members of the party. You can end the game with the male and female lead becoming lovers if you want. You can have Rena fall in love with her childhood friend and leave Claude single. You can have the two characters who are actually married run off together. I think. I never watched that ending, but as far as I know, any two characters can be paired together as friends or as lovers. Although, the same-sex romance pairings are more like best friends forever than lovers. I know. I wanted to see Celine Opera 2. And that's why you always hear that Star Ocean 2 has 86 endings. In freaking sane. Insane aspect of Star Ocean 2, number 8. The voice collection. You want to hear something hilarious? Here is a clip from a video called Star Ocean: The Second Story Claude Kenny Voice Collection.
Yeah. Ha. Ha. Ta. Da. Yeah. Take that. Hit it. Da. How's this? Damn. Ow. Uh-oh.
Those are all battle cries. There are no voice-acted scenes in the original PS1 version of this game. Only battle cries. There are lots of them. I think it's like 1,000. Every time you hear one, the next time you save your game, the fact that you heard it is saved as well. On the title screen, you can go into the sound test menu, and every voice that you have heard will have a space filled in on this giant grid. Hear all voice lines in the game to completely fill in the grid with a badass picture that could be considered a spoiler, so I won't show it to you in this video. I'm not expecting the voice collection to exist in the same way in the remake, so this particular bit of insanity will probably remain unique to the original Star Ocean 2 till the end of time. Wouldn't you like to complete the picture and be able to listen to every amazing audio line recorded in the game? If you want to fill in the whole thing, there are several hurdles in your way. The biggest one is the time investment. There are a lot of spells and moves each character can do, and each one has a normal line and a rare line. So you'll have to cast the same spell over and over until you get the rare voice. And then you'll have to do it again for the next spell. And the next one. And the next one. Till the end of time. You'll also have to play the game multiple times because you can't get all characters in a single game. Each character has a battle voice where they shout the name of a character that died in battle. But they only shout their name if they've fallen in love with that character. This is genius. And there are 12 characters. As you can see, Star Ocean 2 is taking collectibles to the extreme. Even if you do everything you can possibly do, there will still be a few holes in the voice collection picture, because there are spell incantations for characters that don't learn that spell, and characters shouting each other's names that can't be recruited together. One of the craziest rumors about this game is that there is supposedly a voice clip that can only be obtained by changing a character's name. The person who started the rumor hasn't said what voice that is, but I'm dying to find out. It's gotta be true. Insane aspect of Star Ocean 2, number 7, the items. The items and equipment in Star Ocean 2 are a whole new world. Are you ready to hear the insanity? This is probably a world record. There are 791 items in this game. Yes, some of them are ingredients used to make other items, but not that many of them. This isn't like Monster Hunter or an MMO where every enemy drops a unique crafting ingredient. It's not like FF12 where every monster drops a pelt or some body part for you to sell. Just go ahead and skim off 91 items from the total to account for all the ingredients, failure items, and items that don't really do anything. And you still have over 700 items that actually do stuff. A big chunk is all the different healing items and food in the game. There is a lot of food you can make in this game. About 150. Crazy. Some of the remaining 550 items are total game changers. They literally change the way you play the game. There is a sword that if you get it, you will just use your regular attack for the rest of the game. I'm serious. There is a sword that has 100 accuracy. You can use it to hit even those dudes with the giant tower shields from the front, and they won't be able to block it. There is an accessory that just gives you free stuff as you walk around. It even works in towns. You can just have free stuff for as long as you feel like walking around. There is a weak early game giant beach ball looking thing that you can use in battle, and it will deal 50 damage per hit, which is nothing. But the ball has no iframes at all, so it hits enemies like a machine gun and totally stun locks them, making it a useful item throughout the entire game. Dude, there are boots that make you run incredibly fast. All battles from that point forward feel completely different. I think you get the point. These items are goddamn insane. Insane aspect of Star Ocean 2, number 6. The side quests. Are you tired of looking for cats and exterminating rats?
Fuck you!
This game doesn't have any of that. This game doesn't have a lot of side quests, but the quality is excellent. No kill 50 goblins. No bring me that one thingy. None of that nonsense. All of the side quests are secret. The easiest one to find will be when you walk into a town and the game actually has a scene of two people talking about a dragon that's appeared in the town of Salva. This is the only time the game will announce a side quest to you. If you go there, you'll find an optional character to recruit. If you recruit him, he'll ask you to go on a quest that takes you on a trip to a few locations, and you'll have to fight a boss too. That quest is completely optional, as is recruiting the character. In fact, all characters in this game are optional. There are 12 total. You start with 2, and you don't have to take any of the other 10 if you don't want to. Is that not the craziest thing you've ever heard? So there are side quests to get characters. There are some side quests found during private actions. You can do a private action that ends up with Rena getting captured, and she has to fight her way back out of the gang leader's mansion. There is a side quest you can do to try to save a terminally ill little girl. One possible outcome for that quest is a special ending for one of your characters. Another possible outcome for that quest is that she could die. One of the side quests involves collaborating with a journalist and a university professor to hack a computer in a library. Like I said, there aren't a lot of side quests, but the ones we have here are the real deal. Insane aspect of Star Ocean 2, number 5. The skill systems. This is it. It's probably the most insane skill system in any game ever. There are so many things you can do with it. This is actually multiple systems combined into one. Look at this. It doesn't have any decorations or anything. It's not laid out like a sphere grid or a crystarium. It's just a text list of every skill you can learn. If I have counted correctly, there are 46 skills in the game. Every character can learn all of them in any order and level each one to level 10 without any restrictions. What can you do with these skills? Well, they increase your character parameters, they add knockback to your attacks, they increase the amount of healing you receive from items, they let you sell things for more money, they give you gifts from heaven, and if you level up certain combinations of skills, your character will learn specialties. Here's a whole new layer to enjoy. On top of the 46 skills, there are 17 specialties. What can you do with the specialties? They only do everything. Alter the encounter rate, play music that has various effects, make all kinds of items, rob every NPC in the game, write books, copy items, make some awesome weapons, make items that make making things easier to make, and receive messages from God. Is that enough things that you can do with the specialties? In order to do specialties effectively, you need talents. This is layer number 3 in the skill system. Every character has talents. There are 10 talents. Most characters can learn all of them except for the Blessing of Mana. Only mage characters have that talent. If you don't have the talent, your specialties are going to fail a lot of the time, even at max level, and even if you made the things that make making things easier to make. Every time you use a specialty, you have a very small percentage chance to learn the talent that's associated with it. Is the skill system deep enough for you? It's deep enough for me, but is it deep enough for you? I dare you to write in the comment section that this skill system isn't deep enough for you. If multiple characters learn enough specialties, you will be able to do super specialties. This is the 4th layer in the skill system. It just keeps getting deeper. What could you possibly do with super specialties that you can't already do with regular specialties? How about you just give yourself 20% more skill points with every level up from now on because you deserve it, right? How about playing beautiful orchestral music that makes all of your specialties guaranteed to succeed? How about while listening to your own orchestra music, you cook really gorgeous, really expensive food and sell it all for millions of dollars? How about you walk into a shop and start appraising every item on the shelf like a total asshole and tell the shopkeeper that you refuse to pay full price for anything here? How about you're too good for walking places anymore and you call a giant pink bunny to carry you everywhere from now on? How about you walk into an inn and buy it on the spot? How about that? That's your inn now. You can sleep there for free now. And the staff have to keep working there forever with no pay because they have acknowledged that you can do super specialties. Insane aspect of Star Ocean 2, number 4, the towns. Star Ocean 2 has the best towns in any game ever. You're not going to find as many things to do in town in any other game. Firstly, we've got private actions. You can do them with your characters at every town. Some are just cute scenes, some turn into side quests, some give you unique items that can't be obtained in any other way. We've got the shops and the inn. An awesome thing about all the shops and inns is that they all have unique, interesting names, like the Hopping Penguin Inn and the Dolphin Kick Jam Store. One of the stores is owned by Lord of the Turtles. I love that they're all separated into tool shops, equipment shops, skill guilds, restaurants, and there's even a book publisher. The other very important thing about the shops is that they all have tons of things that you actually want to buy. Better equipment, chunks of clay for you to make sculptures with, cooking ingredients, skill books that you need, musical instruments. It's got so much more going for it than potions and remedies. One of the cities has 4 different armor shops. You need to shop around at each one and decide which one will make the best sponsor for you when you enter a fighting tournament. One of the shops is called Slayer. It has a cool anime warrior on it, and the shopkeeper is a bloodthirsty cutie that can't wait to watch you use one of her swords to paint the arena grounds red with the blood of the other contestants. There is a lot of character here, making the shopping experience one of the best ever in JRPGs. The other really big thing about the towns is thanks to the pickpocket ability. If you learn how to pickpocket people, the world is your oyster. Every town becomes a festival of 5-finger discounts. It's an example of how just one specialty can completely change your game experience. Star Ocean 2 has the best towns ever. Insane aspect of Star Ocean 2, number 3, the bosses. There's something special about every boss battle in this game. If you're not using all your skills, specialties, and super specialties to completely break the game, then after a certain point, each boss becomes almost like a puzzle. It's really just an equipment puzzle. I've always been a fan of the idea of learning about your enemies before you fight them and having the perfect preparation for them. No game has done it to the degree that I would like. Star Ocean 2, like most games, has bosses kick your ass once so you can load your last save and then change your equipment before trying again. Boo! But still, the puzzle-like aspect of each boss makes them memorable. The second to the last boss has a crazy attack called Winds of Destruction. It kills your ass, unless you have protection from wind, and you find a set of rune shoes in that very dungeon. Those will make one character completely immune to Winds of Destruction. There's a boss that just sits there and only does one attack. It's called Lost Patience. That attack has a trick to it. If you know it, there's no way you will lose. There is a really fast, difficult boss called Shin. If you have the character Dios, he's no problem. It's really hard to figure out a lot of these tactics, however. So you have a lot of boss fights that are total trauma. And a lot of players are going to walk around saying, this boss fight is bullshit. Anybody who ever says a boss is bullshit without explaining exactly why it's bullshit is wrong. That phrase has become way too popular. Just like clunky controls. 99% of the time, people never tell you why they're clunky. Probably because they aren't actually clunky. Point is, all these traumatic boss fights, while possibly leaving a negative impression on the player, leave an impression on the player. And that makes them more interesting and memorable. Another really interesting thing is that some of them are optional. When you go through Cross Cave, you're there to search for a hidden treasure. If you find it, you can just run out of there. Bye-bye. You don't have to fight the boss. In the Linga Sanctuary, you're supposed to find a rare herb. I totally thought there was no boss in this cave until recently. There are rocks on the right side of the screen that make it look like you can't pass. You can just walk right behind those things and boom, there's the boss. I had no idea. Something that a lot of people can't stand is boss battles that you are supposed to lose. People hate them mainly because you can waste lots of healing items trying to stay alive when all you have to do to continue the story is die.
You dumbass!
Star Ocean 2 has 4 of these battles. If you do some absolutely ridiculous tactics, you can actually beat all 4 of them. But the most interesting thing about the bosses is their lore. Do not worry, I'm not going to spoil anything. You go through the entire second half of the game knowing that there are these dudes that call themselves the 10 Wise Men. And you learn through the main story that they want to get revenge on this entire planet. For reasons. And that's about all you know. You know the reasons too, but that's it. That's the story of the 10 Wise Men. Or so it seems. It's a series of secrets that involves talking to all the right people and finding a bunch of relevant private actions. If you manage to find out the secrets of the 10 Wise Men, your mind will be blown. You want to hear something crazy? If you play the original PS1 version, the 10 Wise Men don't even use their real names. The second Wise Man isn't actually named Cyril. His name is actually Lucifer. Don't worry, that's not a spoiler. Play the game, find the secrets, make sure you do a private action at every town before you go inside, just to make sure you don't miss any missable steps. It can be done without a guide at the very end of the game. Find out what the 10 Wise Men really are. Insane aspect of Star Ocean 2, number 2, the post-game. Star Ocean 2 has a really solid post-game. It's really hard to tell you guys how awesome everything is in this game without spoiling everything. Allow me to spoil a few gameplay things. At the end of the game, you go back to the beginning areas of the game. But you don't just go back there. You go back there in virtual reality. You go back to the beginning of the game wearing a VR headset, and everything you have in the real world, you have in the VR world. And everything you get in the VR world, you will have in the real world when you stop using VR. In the first village of the game is a newlywed couple that are madly in love. In the VR version of that village, they have a baby. They didn't have the baby in real life, but this VR world seems to have been created by some kind of AI program that predicted the future and gave that couple a baby. You can steal a one-of-a-kind, amazing item from their baby in VR. You can use that item to get better equipment. You can use that equipment when you go to the one island on the map that you couldn't access when you were here in real life. The dungeon here is a few hours long. It's got all the strongest equipment in the game. You get the final musical instruments, you get the final combat skills. It's got the game's first super boss. You know how FF7 has a 1-winged angel? Star Ocean 2 has a 6-winged angel, and she's way harder than Sephiroth. There is no fluff here. You get a single, solid, 13-floor dungeon. Everything you want to become totally extreme is in there. Insane aspect of Star Ocean 2, number 1. The ultimate super boss. FF7 has Ruby Weapon. That is a very hard battle, but that's all it is. The hardest boss in Star Ocean 2 is part of the story. I don't think Star Ocean ever did this again. There are so many design choices that are really good and never used again, like having side quests that aren't on a bulletin board and aren't fetch quests. I don't know why the side quests devolved into that in later Star Ocean games, but they did. The quests became fetch quests, and the ultimate bosses no longer have anything to do with the story. To meet the ultimate boss, you have to engage with multiple different aspects of the game. You have to do multiple required private actions. One of them is early in the game, and it is missable. So do a private action before you enter each town for the first time, and you'll be fine. Everything else can be done at your leisure. You will have to find out who the 10 Wise Men really are. You will have to go into virtual reality to get yourself powerful enough to fight it. You'll have to be close to the maximum level of 255. You'll have to have all the best armor and weapons. You'll want to have all your skills maxed out. You'll want to do everything you can to prepare, because it's going to be a completely unfair battle. I've never said what I'm about to say about any other game before. Lots of people say it all the time, and I always think they're just bad at the game and they want to blame it on something other than themselves. But it's definitely true about this one battle. The computer cheats. The computer cheats, and it will be in your plain sight. For the entire game, there was a rule about the battle system that the player will have observed. You can't miss it. Everyone who plays the game knows the rule. It's the rule in every Star Ocean game. You never would have thought it's a rule that can be broken. It would mess up the whole balance of the game. If you want to see what I'm talking about, play Star Ocean 2. Get to the post game. Find out who the 10 wise men really are. Go find the person who has a VR headset. Get as strong as you can. And when you find that boss and you see what he's doing, you won't believe it's happening. And you'll think this is a flaw or a mistake, or that this battle is bullshit. And you'll think this forever until you play a different Star Ocean game and find out that this is actually